As I'm writing this, a similar feeling is Pillage and Michael. Feminine ISIL, making up words and describing a cycle. Feminine high school, some would say Ithaca is a kaleidoscope. The feeling is mutual, our place in the world is gonna be vital when ish goes down and we have to take a side. They come down to join in Ithacan pride. Lost. Atlantis is Ithaca's cousin, we're stuck in an icicle. Make way for the bicycle, I hope everyone does. Be careful because outside is a bison cold. Don't make me get moody though, Howl Studios. I'm not running, I'm coming, get money. So here we go.
Well, pretty much every time somebody came in to record, I would just send them the music, send them the whole album and all the tracks, and just say, you know, whatever moves you, just you can either write stuff beforehand or just show up and just wing it when you come in. And I would say most of the time, most people just came in and just freestyled or improv'd on their instrument. So for Say Cook Beat, it's just a made up name, Romano came in and for some reason I had the idea to just have a song that's praising people, you know, a song where somebody's just saying thank you to other people and, you know, being grateful for what other people do. So Romano wrote an incredible song, a whole song. He just sat down and just started, you know, just scribbling on a page. And when he recorded it, he first did it in a whisper. He did the whole song all the way through in a whisper, and he has really interesting syncopation when he raps, and he does amazing spoken word, and his lyrics are complex and they all fit together in this really interesting way. So he did the whole thing, one whole pass through of him just whispering. And then the next track I said, you know, I really like that, but could you know, project a little more so that it picks up better on the mic, because I'm picking up all the subtleties in your mouth because your voice is so quiet compared to everything else that's going on. And so he recorded it again at full volume, and I think I just muted and forgot about that other track, the whisper track. And recently I just had this spot that it just wasn't working. I actually cut out his vocals for the beginning of the song, and when he came in, it just felt so much better and more appropriate to have the whisper come in and then eventually have the full volume come in. And then I discovered that his syncopations were different on the two recordings. In some places they actually aligned with each other, in other places they were countering each other. And so it worked beautifully to just have them both playing at the same time and interacting with each other. And that was just one of the many examples of, you know, just dumb luck that ended up making something really cool and unique.
He graduated. He did it. He made it. As Facebook stated. As Facebook stated. He graduated. He did it. He made it. As Facebook stated. As Facebook stated.
Mask off cause he lacked up, feeling with the past dog and he didn't act on or act out. He's a good God, going great, done good, thank you. People done good, thank you. Yeah, I think you done good, thank you. Yeah, I think you done good, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's over 20 artists on the album, and that includes, you know, singers, rappers, poets, instrumentalists, musicians, and it happened in a lot of different ways. I would say a lot of it happened really organically, you know, that, I don't know, there was a situation, my friend Equam was at Howl, had a studio at Howl at the same time that I did, and he was working with the drummer, and they were just walking by in the hallway, and I was working on the album, and I just got to talking to them, and I said to the drummer, hey, you want to come record drums on one of the songs? And he said, yeah, sure, let me grab my cymbals and my snare. And so he showed up in my room about 15 minutes later, and we busted out the drums for It Ain't Working, the first actual song on the album. And it just happened like that so often that people would just kind of show up, and there they were, and they were incredibly talented, and we recorded. And a really interesting thing happened, and it was part of my growth as a producer, in the sense that a producer's job is sort of to creatively take everything, all the talent, all the stuff, and funnel it into that song and put it in the right spot and make it all magically work together. And maybe that's giving a little too much credit to the producer, but in that sense, so often somebody would come in and record, and they would be performing their part, whatever it was, you know, somebody rapping or somebody playing the violin or somebody playing drums, and I'd be recording, I'd be sitting at the computer watching, you know, all the levels, watching the meters, adjusting things, and I wouldn't really think anything of their performance. In fact, a lot of times I would think, oh, well, I don't know if this is going to work or not on the album. And then later I would implement it somehow, and it would work well. And then even further down the road, I would finally appreciate the value of that performance, and not only appreciate it, but realize that it was genius. It was truly genius, and I hadn't had the capacity to recognize that at the time. That's kind of the story of the album, that I don't even know that I can call it my album. You know, so many of the contributions and the things that you hear in the final thing are things that I did not come up with on my own, and that I could not have come up with on my own, could not have executed the way that people did. Tony, the flute player, he's a jazz flutist, and he's just totally willing to come in and just record. And so often it was basically just people coming to hang out, and we would just have a good time, and they would just listen to tracks, and when they heard something they liked, Eric Johnson, that would happen a lot. He's a sax player, an incredible sax player. But yeah, he'd just come in and he'd say, hey, play me some tracks. And I'd play them the latest stuff, and something would move him, and I'd pull the session up as quickly as I can while he's already, you know, coming up with cool riffs. And he would record. And it would always just be incredible. And that was another situation where the end of The Art of Virtue, when it gets into the Jaso Fuji part, Eric Johnson laid down a sax on that. And I wasn't sure if I would be able to implement it because so much of the song was already in place, and there wasn't really room for a performance there, especially not a solo. But he was listening to all of the parts, and he somehow he wove his saxophone part into what was existing, and it wasn't much work on my part to fit him in as far as production goes. Saved up, and I moved back to New York and got a cabin out in the woods. I rented it. Had a wood stove and electricity, and no internet, no bathroom really. I just used there was a main house down out of the woods that I could use for that. And with that set up, I created my first album, Hawksview, and it took me 2 months from the time I moved in and started writing the songs until I had finished it. I mastered it, mixed it, and it was done and out the door. So 2 months for that album, and HipHoptical ended up being 4 years somehow. I actually moved in at least one time during HipHoptical to Hawksview and worked on the album while I was there. I also had 3 different rooms at Howl Studios that I made into my recording studios. And I'm right now, this is my room studio at my parents' house. My parents graciously let me record here, and day and night there's musicians coming in and out of the house, and Parents are always nice about that. And I'm building the final place for Hawksview Studio, just right up the hill. It's going to be a cabin where the studio is going to. But it was another layer to the sonic qualities of the album is that it was recorded in 6 or 7 different studios that I had over the years, and I think that kind of lends to maybe the feel of the album and the sound of the album. I mean, some of the things, Janet Batch's vocals in the same song, It Ain't Workin', if you solo out her vocals, you can hear the background noise. There's somebody in the next room just slamming on drums while we were recording, and if you solo that out, you can hear it. But just things like that, you can't replicate that in some big fancy studio. It's all part of the vibe of the roots music.